How do they deserve to die? In this video, I'm going to be talking about our supposed leaders and how do they deserve to die. Now, it's a bit of a disclaimer. I'm not saying people should go out and do this. I'm just saying hypothetically, if we lived in an alternative reality and we were able to have a new set of Nuremberg trials and put these people on trial, how should their executions be carried out? What should the punishment be? We can start with the head of CNN, Jeff Zucker, who believes it's fun to hype up corona hysteria in order to get better ratings. He should be put on a game show where he is electrocuted in a humorous way for people's entertainment, since he believes it's so okay to just kill people for entertainment and ratings. Governor, piece of shit, mass murdering, tyrannical autocrat Cuomo, who the fuck voted for this piece of shit? He deserves to be put on a ventilator and ventilated to death because he instigated a ventilator crisis. By the way, all the ventilators weren't ever fucking needed. Oh, and they figured out that's going to kill people, not treat them, because Governor Cuomo mass ventilated people because the Chinese Communist Party said to do so. So what could be more fitting than for Cuomo to be basically put to sleep by drugs and ventilated to death? The downside to this type of execution is that he would be drugged while this is being carried on, so he wouldn't actually suffer and feel as much pain as he deserves to feel. So maybe they could come up with some drug to kind of keep him awake while he's ventilated. What about Governor Newsom in California, who, unlike Cuomo, doesn't even pretend to have a pretext? He's just going to destroy the lives of millions of people, destroy all those businesses and jobs, put so many people in poverty while he gluttonously pigs out, at fine restaurants. He should just be stripped of all assets and thrown out into the street to starve to death in the gutter, because poverty is what he likes to create in other people. And, he's the guy who's overseeing the state where all these people are fleeing from in absolute terror because he wants to put people into poverty. He wants to make people homeless. He's doing that. So that's what he deserves. Neil Fergusson, whose bullshit model is used to set off COVID hysteria, being that he's so interested in modeling and statistics, someone should come with a model of how much weight could be pressed on him before he dies. And then we should have this public medieval-style execution where they put a wooden slab board on him and pile weight on him until he is dead. Fauci, our supposed expert in infectious disease, except he has no fucking clue how to fight an infectious disease. He just wants people to die in order to protect them against dying from an infectious disease. That's his plan. Fucking piece of shit. Disgusting, repulsive. So he should be consumed by the god of disease Nurgle out of the Warhammer 4000 universe, which would see Fauci covered in disgusting, disease-ridden sores all over his body and turned into nothing but a germ zombie until he is killed. Here's the head of the American CDC, Robert Redfield. He liked to talk so much about how these masks are even more important than a vaccine and how everyone needs to wear it. Since he is more emphatic about depriving other people of breath more than anyone else, and he's such a idiot, boring bureaucrat, he should just die the old-fashioned way by hanging. Here's the PM of Canada, who likes to give speeches about how wonderful the Great Reset is. For Justin Trudeau, his loyalty is not to supposed people of Canada, who he's supposed to serve, and I think he's supposedly elected by. No, his loyalty is to Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab. And he is a traitor to Canada. So why don't they just give him the old British punishment for traitors, which is to be hung, drawn, and quartered? If you don't know what that means first they hang someone, but they have hanged them. So before they're fully dead from hanging, they are then drawn, which means their entrails are split open and their balls are cut off in front of them and burned in front of them. And then they are finally to have their limbs, each limb tied to a horse, and the horses are startled and tear the body apart. That is the old British punishment for traitors. Klaus Schwab, who wants to merge our physical, biological, and digital identities. The death that best comes to mind is that of Vern out of Superman 3. So Klaus Schwab deserves to be abducted by a supercomputer and hideously turned into a robotic cyborg and then finally killed by some type of superhero. And who the fuck is this person, Melinda Gates? Who the fuck made her a global health expert? How did she get to that position? Well, she's an absolute nothing who fucked her way to the top. She's a nothing, therefore she should die like a nothing. She should be thrown into a black hole, which is actually a worse way to die than you might think it is, because the gravitational force of the black hole will pull your feet in way before your head, so it will actually tear your body apart. And then she can return to being a total fucking nothing. For Bill Gates, who thinks that he is a god amongst men and that he will take over health and education and agriculture and he will reimagine the earth in his image, well, what more fitting death for a god than that of crucifixion? And this should be like an old-fashioned public execution. And if he's going to be a god, he should be surrounded by his followers. All these people actually believe his shit. And he should die in front of them. But then finally, if we're really going to give credit where credit is due, we need to give it to the real people instigating this COVID bullshit. And it's not Bill Gates or Klaus Schwab or Governor Cuomo. It's the person who's just doing his job. And no one exemplifies this more than Eichmann, who was this, Nazi bureaucrat, who, as Hannah Arendt put it, essentially, he gave away the ability that he had to think. He didn't question anything. He didn't think about anything. He gave away his humanity. He just became an automaton doing bureaucratic stuff. No matter what, it's just doing his job. So whether it's the medical doctor or the nurse or the police officer or the journalist, whoever it is who's just pushing this agenda, just doing their job, they're the real ones behind it. So how do they deserve to die? Well, the ironic thing is, as much as the actual supposed leaders aren't going to really die in the fantastical ways mentioned in this video, for the people in this image, those regular German citizens, those good German citizens, many of them died as soldiers in war. Many of them died in occupation. A lot of them kind of got what they deserved in a certain sense. And for many people just going along, just following orders, just doing their jobs, they're going to get sick and die, whether it's from vaccines, whether it's from depression and anxiety, whether it's from them finally losing everything they have. They're going to get what they create. They're going to get the tyranny that they are creating. And they might think it's nice and fun right now that their tyranny is only affecting the others. Their tyranny is only affecting the poor people. Their tyranny is only affecting the small business people. But the tyranny that they're creating isn't affecting them. It will. But for these fucking pieces of shit who are just doing their job, if they get their way, by the time that they live to regret their decision, there won't be anyone left to speak for them. So those of us who have a conscience have to do our best to stop this tyranny before these new type of good German citizens realize what they're creating.